Hey guys, this is Nina Perez, and this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. This show is created to discuss life topics and hopefully challenge and transform your thinking. Hey guys, this is Nina Perez, and this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. Thank you so much for watching. This show is created to discuss life topics and hopefully challenge and transform your thinking. Today, I have a really special woman with me, and I am proud to call her my friend. Her name is Miosotys Santiago, and she is the founder and CEO of Exemplify to Edify. And that is a women's organization that not only instills hope in broken women, but empowers women and teens to overcome whatever situation they may be in. She does self-care workshops, which include overcoming fear and anxiety, domestic violence, mindfulness, and healthy eating. And that's just to name a few. She just she just released her book.
It was a relief.
She just released her book, God's Diamond. And this was a journey of her life on how to be transformed, or how she was transformed into God's diamond. Miosotys is a survivor of many life hard-hitting challenges, to say the least. You guys got to pick up this book so you can see what I'm talking about. And I am so happy to have you here, and congratulations. I know that this was a work for you, and I am really proud of you, Mio. Very proud. So I wanted you to come on, and we're going to talk about this book and how you interweave that for people. But I want them to know who you are. So if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, that'd be awesome.
So when they asked me the question of who am I needed to ask myself that question. It took me a long time to look in the mirror and finally realize, who am I? So I'm basically a representation of everything that I've went through in life, but I persevered with resilience and my faith and my courage, and I just faced every obstacle, and I pushed through, and that's who I am. I'm a person who pushes through, and I'm a mother of 3, grandmother of 4, a wife, and I'm a full-time caregiver to my father with dementia. So I have a lot of roles. I have a lot of roles in being who I am, but I'm excited about this interview with you. Thank you so much for
I'm so
inviting
glad
me.
you're here. Of course. Now,
Thank
you've
you.
been through a lot of things. You've been through a lot, and you do play a lot of roles, and you also play a lot of roles in women's lives. And in your book, what I liked about reading this book is that you tell your story, and you're very raw and true about your story. But then you also did something kind of wonderful in here that I really loved, which was, after you told a big piece of your story, then you talked to us about reflections. And so you not only took us through your story, but then you're asking us to reflect on our story too. And how, it's funny how all our stories can kind of interweave with each other like that, right? And I'm
Yes.
sure that was intentional, right? For us to
Yes.
like really see ourselves in something you've gone through.
Yeah.
Right?
Everything I did with the book was intentional, because
Right.
my sole intention was to minister to the woman who reads it. So
Right.
I took my time with everything every decision I made with the book. I consulted with my Lord and Savior, first of
Right.
all, asking him for permission. Is this okay? Like, there was a lot of communicating with me and the Lord, because
Great.
I asked him to come through me and minister through me. So there were times I was writing and I don't even know what I wrote. It was just him speaking through me, because my sole intention is to minister to the soul that reads this book. And that even went down to picking the picture. When it came down to the picture, I chose the picture of me as a little girl, because I wanted every woman to relate to the little girl in them. I didn't want them to see a picture of a woman standing there with her boss pose and all this makeup and all this stuff, worldly stuff. I wanted you to connect with the little girl within you who went through some stuff, but you're a woman now, and you went through it, and this is the journey that I want to go through the journey with you. So I'm somehow attaching myself through the journey with the woman I don't even know. But that's
Right.
the intention. That's the intention.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what all that exemplify to edify is also about, right? Is like
Yes.
reaching those women. And
Yes.
like you've been through some stuff, and I just want to touch a little bit of that so people understand what we're talking about here. And I'd
Sure.
like you to, kind of tell a little bit about your own story. Like, can you share with us some of your experiences that we have in here?
Sure. So I start off chapter one with basically explaining how the devil's been trying to kill me since I was born. I said
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
from the day I was born that there was an accident in the labor room and I was dropped. I spent the first year of my life, in the hospital. I developed meningitis of the brain and then asthma
Wow.
and everything going on from there. And then I speak about growing up. I was a daddy's girl and I was ripped away from my daddy when they got a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
So being the oldest and the daddy's girl, my mother ended up having to go to work, two jobs. So I was responsible for the household. So I started being introduced to things that I shouldn't have been introduced, but at the same time, I was given these responsibilities. So I thought I was mature enough to handle them.
Yeah.
So I speak about I speak about my attempted suicide when I was 13, only because I was raped at 13, because I was
Right.
in a relationship at 13, because I thought I was old enough to be in a
Right.
relationship. So like some of the young girls out here today. And I also speak about being a young girl, being a woman, and just going from one relationship to the next that was toxic, only because we were searching for daddy's love in
Yeah.
men. And usually searching for daddy's love for me was in all the wrong places because I was introduced to toxicity very early. So when I was in the relationship with toxicity, I thought it was normal because that's what I was introduced to.
Right.
So that's why from this book also, I want to target the teens so they can read it to know that it's not normal. So we could break these generational curses.
Right.
I speak about running away. I speak about me being a 9/11 survivor, having
Right.
escaped Tower One and losing my fiance. That was the breaking point for me where I decided that, I no longer wanted to be part of this world. I seen nothing but pure evil on 9/11.
Yeah.
That's when I surrendered and I gave myself to the Lord. And I've been on a path just to inspire women. Um, since then, it's been almost 20 years. I speak about my incarceration, not mine, my mother's, when I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
So I really focused on events that happened in my life
Mm-hmm.
from the moment I was born until 24. So in 24 years, I was dropped on my head as a baby. I was
Right.
I was molested by my family member. I tried to commit suicide at 13. I died. I went somewhere else. I experienced an afterlife. I heard the voice, seen the light, all of that. I was placed in a mental institution because they thought I wasn't going to be a productive citizen. I ended up getting flown over to Miami, getting pregnant by 16. I lived that life. I was My mother was incarcerated, but I was 19. So by 19, I didn't have any parents around. I didn't have any support system. I didn't have any structure. I
Right.
didn't have any discipline. I was like a puppy that just was thrown in a cage to fend, for herself. Like a lot of the kids today are
Yeah.
facing because of everything going on in the world with their parents, a parent being incarcerated, mom having to work two jobs, kids is just raising themselves, the TV's babysitting the kids. So
Mm-hmm.
I tried to
Mm-hmm.
focus on the most important things that happen in my life so I can minister to the generation now to try to break this generational curse.
Yeah.
That was my focus.
Yeah, and you did that well. And then you also, I like that, like, I'll just use one example. I'm going to use a few, but this is one of them.
Mhm.
And this is one of your reflections after your first chapter. Have you ever looked in the mirror and affirmed who you are? And if so, who are you? And what can you do to make yourself better? I like that because even if they're not at a place where they can affirm themselves, the question still lies in how can you make yourself better? And I think that has a lot to do with what you do with these workshops. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I was reading a little bit about that as well. And if anybody wants to know more about this, please go on to her website, which is exemplify2, the number 2, edify.org. And you can find out more about these great workshops. And you have like inspirational speaking on consciousness of loving yourself, which is,
Self-care.
yeah,
Yes.
self-care. And I just was like, Mio, you're going to affect a lot of people in a lot of phenomenal ways. And I'm really excited to be your friend and see this happening. It's
Thank
really
you.
great. And going on your website is so well done. And I'm like, look at her.
I
She's
did it
killing it.
myself. I did it myself.
Did you? You did a fantastic
In
job.
two
Like
days. In two
fantastic.
days. Thank you.
Just a
In
few
2 days.
2 days.
You
Okay.
know what? I did it last year during COVID. What else can I do?
Exactly. That's awesome. Good for you because you did a great
Yes.
job. Great
Thank you.
job. So
Thank
one
you.
of the things that I loved, and I love what you did here, is on page 30. You said, "I would like to leave you with a few words of advice. There are a few things that I have learned to look at differently throughout my life, and it has made a huge difference in my life and the way I function and operate." And I'm going to go through these quickly. Own your own happiness. Challenge your story. I'm sorry. Yeah, challenge your story. Enjoy and embrace your journey. Make all of your relationships count. Make your relationship with God a priority and aim to achieve a good work life balance. So,
Yes.
is this what you do too? I mean, are these the type of
Yes.
things that you really try to really put in your life?
I have to.
Yeah, you have to.
Like I explained, my daughters, their mothers now. I've been there, done that. Raised 3 girls, single
Right.
mother. And I tell them at the end of the day, I realize now that all the energy I put into just being a mother and providing and taking care of my children, they ended up growing up, getting married, and living happily ever after. And now I was left here, an empty vessel, the
Mm,
woman who neglected herself for a little while she was a mother raising her kids.
mm-hmm.
So I tell my daughters now, you're a mother, but you still have to take care of yourself along the way. Because if you don't take care of yourself first, and I'm
Right.
not being it to be selfish,
Mm-hmm.
but if you don't take care of yourself first, how can you truly be the best person you can be for your
Mm-hmm.
children, for your spouse, for your marriage, for your business, for your friendship, for anything? So I'm all about self-care. I protect my space, my energy. I protect my mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into protecting my body, my physical health, so that I can live as long as I can. And it's just very important, especially us as women, that we sacrifice everything for everyone else.
Yeah.
We always leave ourselves last. And by the time it's time for us to do anything for ourselves, we're exhausted.
Right.
And everyone else goes off in the world and does whatever they want to do. And here we're here stuck, exhausted.
Right.
And that has to change.
Yeah.
That has to change.
Yeah.
Self-care is very important.
Right.
Let allow, and your relationship with God is truly important. Whoever it is, let me just say that, whatever energy you want to worship, I bet it's all the same thing. We all have an individual relationship that we have to work on ourselves. That relationship between us and that other energy that we believe in, that we've never seen, that has to connect somehow. It needs to connect.
Mm-hmm.
When that connection comes, that's when you start truly relying on this energy who's been protecting you all along, and you no longer focus on the opinions and the advice of the world, because none of that matters, because we're all a work in progress.
Right.
I might say something to you that's my opinion where you
Mm-hmm.
might not agree on it.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
Right.
We were raised differently, our
Right.
thought processes are differently.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
Right.
But as long as we focus on our individual relationship, and we're grounded in who we are,
Mm-hmm.
and we know who we are, and we don't allow the world to distort us mentally with, I need to be here, I should have had a degree by now, I need to look like this, I gotta weigh like this, my hair gotta look like this, my eyelashes gotta look like that. I mean, it goes on and on and
So
on.
true. It's so true. What do you do? Like, what do you think when you give like these workshops, or when you're talking to a woman who is broken or going through, what do you think is like the first step for this woman to get to that, at least the beginning spot? What is that beginning spot of starting to not be so broken?
The first thing that I can tell anyone to do is forgive. You
That's
have to
good.
forgive yourself
That's
first.
good. That's good.
Forgive yourself first. Forgive yourself. I had to forgive myself for the decisions I made.
Right.
I can't blame it all on my mom because I decided to make those decisions
Mhm.
at the
Mhm.
end of the day. The relationships I decided to stay in, the mistakes I made that detoured me in my employment or whatever the case may be, that held me back from where I could have been. I had to forgive myself for all of that, put it to the past, and realize we're only focusing on the right now. Who are you right now? Where
Right.
are you right now?
Mhm.
And when you start putting that, where are you right now? That's all we're focusing on is who are you right now? Focus on the self care of the person who you're looking in the mirror at right now. Don't worry about the past and don't worry about the future. You didn't get there yet. We're
Right.
only worrying about right now. So
Right.
I always try to introduce that in my self care workshops when I was hosting them. And even to the teens. I loved working with the teens the most because I believe now we need to get to that generation now to help them focus on their individual identity. That's another chapter in the book, so they won't get detoured with all the bombardment of all the stuff that this world is throwing at our kids.
Right.
So
And there's a
that's
lot. There's a
it's
lot.
too much. It's too
Uh,
much. It's too much.
yeah.
So that's what I basically focus on. And the first step to anything, before you forgive anyone, you have to forgive yourself.
That's
Once you
very
forgive
good.
yourself, once you forgive yourself, you'll now it's like a big load off your shoulders and you're like starting from scratch. Okay, let me do this thing again. But you once you forgive yourself, you're allowing God to just come in and just start healing and tapping into all that brokenness that you surrendered because you forgave yourself. Now, like, I need healing,
Right.
and allow yourself to be healed. That's
Right.
the only way you're gonna make it. That's the only way you're gonna grow.
That's so good. I mean, I think that that is one thing that we tend to not focus on, right? We always tend to. I was molested as a child too. So, one of the things I always thought of was forgiving that person and not wanting to. I was very angry for a very long time. But it wasn't until I became more of an adult and I have a relationship with God as well. And then I realized that I not only had to forgive him, I had to forgive me too, right? For my decisions too, and my anger and my, wrath, right? And I
Yes.
think that you're right, Mio. It's a very, and that is a very crucial first step. I think it's a very hard first step, because, we like to hold on. We hold on to things,
Yes,
you
we
know,
do.
we hold
Yes.
on to things. I think we subconsciously feel like it gives us power, to be angry like that at someone, but it doesn't.
Of
It actually
control.
it actually steals your power. It's actually more freeing to forgive than to keep it. Right?
Correct.
Do you agree? Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. I
So
felt that holding on to my secrets and all of that extra stuff, it made me feel a sense of control of my life.
mhm,
And
protected.
and it was actually harming me because the older I got and I
Mhm.
thought that it was going away, it just was growing with me. We don't
Right.
realize that it's somehow growing with you. You think you forgot it, but you didn't.
Right.
It grows with you. It
Right.
does.
I think that women, and teens, need to find a way to connect with somebody in their community that they trust, that can help them develop this, that they can help them learn what it is to act, to forgive. Right. Of
Yes.
course, going to, if you're in a church, your pastor and stuff is a good idea. If you're surrounded by women who are women of faith, that's also a very good idea. And sorry about that.
Mhm.
And I think that your workshops are important. Like I was reading, about your workshops, and I think they're important because if these women are from different communities, it doesn't mean they can't connect still with other women, You do your workshops now virtually? Are you still doing them live? How are you doing? Or you're not doing them right now?
I haven't done anything. The whole year of 2020, I was pulled back from the world, and
Yeah.
I was just pulled back into self-developing and truly
Good.
finding out who I am, and so much was revealed to me. I'm going to start this year though. I'm hoping to start virtual self-care workshops so that
Good.
I can, introduce it not only to the women, but we can also introduce it to the teens because they're sitting
Right.
at home now doing nothing.
Yeah. And I think now is actually important because 2020, isolated a lot of people, and it made a lot of people be very vulnerable in very hard places. I mean, you probably already heard, but like domestic violence went
Yeah,
up like 63% or something. Child abuse went up like 50, 60% or something. And I'm just quoting like things that I've seen around. I don't know how accurate all of that is. I know that it did. I just don't know the percentages. And I think that people like you, people who are willing to go out there, step out, minister to other women, and have been through something. It is very, very hard for people to receive from you when you haven't been through anything, right? But I feel like we're kindred spirits, me and you, because I feel like it doesn't really matter what scenario people bring up. I've been there. I've
yeah,
been
yeah.
there
Like me too. My husband says I'm insensitive because when he talks to me about
already.
certain things, he expects this reaction from me, and I'm like, been there, done that. Like
Right, right, right.
not in that way,
Yeah.
but
It's not
I've been
shocking
there.
anymore. It's not jarring to you anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
funny. My husband
You
says
know
the
what?
same.
I also want to talk about too when you've been through so much pain like me. I've been dealing with pain since I was a little girl. You
Right.
become desensitized at some point.
Yeah.
And I just lost my daughter's father to COVID-19, July 16th,
Right.
2020.
Right.
And when they read in the book, actually, I lost my fiance at the World Trade Center in 2001. My youngest daughter's father overdosed in 2016. And I just lost my oldest two daughters' father, my childhood sweetheart since I was 14, in July. So I've already buried three men
Right.
that I once loved and I had relationships with. That
Right.
hurts,
Right.
especially both of them being my daughter's fathers. My daughters don't have fathers now.
Right.
I'm their sole living parent.
Right.
So it's put a lot of responsibility on my shoulders because now I'm trying to create this legacy and just trying to leave them, leave my grandchildren. I have four, this memory of who Mima was because I'm all they have left.
Right.
So it's my goal not only to try to change the world for my grandchildren, but try to change the world, or even not even the world, a part of someone through my story. Because
Right.
that's all that I'm gonna be is a story one day. You'll Google me, you'll look up the books, you'll look up I'm a 9/11 survivor, and you'll hear my story. But even like 20 years from now, I want someone to read my story and say, you know what, that was a
Mhm.
strong woman,
Right.
you know?
Right. And your story will still, unfortunately, be relevant because pain is going to be here always. Right.
And all women. I
It's
want
true.
all women to know
Right.
that they should be remembered with the stuff they've been through. And
Yeah.
they're just not a product of their environment or a statistic. There's
Right.
still a purpose within you, and you still have work to do. And there's something that's in you that only you have that someone else in the world needs. And it's
Right.
time for us to just let it go and
Right.
start living in purpose and just start, loving each other and just helping each other and nurture each other.
Right. Right.
Gone on for far too long already. It's
It
time.
it yeah, you're right. I think there's always been strong voices out there, right? I mean, you're not the first voice, I'm not the first voice, but that doesn't mean our voice doesn't matter.
Correct.
And I'm excited to see what you're going to do next, Mio. I'm very, very excited. I
Thank you.
think you are super wicked smart, and you're kind hearted, And I've seen you, in this last, maybe I think 2 years of our friendship, I've been following you and seeing you grow and go through all of these things. And I'm just like, wow. So I'm excited about your book, and I really am gonna encourage it all to my friends and stuff to pick up this book, God's Diamond. Now, can they get this just on your website, or is it on Amazon at all, or where
On
can
the
they get this?
website, on my website.
On your website. Okay,
Mhm.
great. Well, you are going to do some phenomenal things, and I'm excited
Okay.
about what that means.
Thank you so
And
much.
I really want you to keep us posted about your workshops when they start happening and coming out. And I know that you also do speaking, right? You do speaking engagements as well, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
So hopefully that'll come back into play too, even if you have to do it like because I know a lot of places are now doing like virtual speaks, now, right? So you can even try doing something like that, where you can do I know you've done a few women's conferences.
Yes.
So it would be good if you can do those again. I know that once we get over all of this fear of COVID and all of this stuff, then we're going to see Mio on the map.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'm actually trying to, I'm thinking about tapping into podcasting.
Very good idea. I
Um,
do it, so I love it.
yeah,
And I'm more than happy to even have you on a podcast if you ever want to be on
of
there.
course. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
I
let's
love
do
it.
it. When we can actually host one together if you'd like. So we can pick a topic, host one together, and we can touch more women even more.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Nina,
Seriously. Yeah,
I'm all for it. Nina, thank you.
of
Whatever you
course.
want to do, I'm down with Nina. I
Thank
love
you,
you.
Mio.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you so much also for you taking the time to speak to us and being on this show. And this means a lot to me. So I really, really appreciate you very
Thank you
much.
for
Thank you.
supporting me and for believing in me. You know, it's been a long journey, but the book is out,
Book is
and I'm
out.
just grateful. I'm grateful for all the divine connections, and you're one of them. So I appreciate you and your support.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
just grateful for everything.
Thank you. I'm grateful too, and I'm grateful for you. So, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Again, this is Mio Santiago. Remember that name. Remember that name. And this is her book, God's Diamond. So make sure you pick this up and go onto her website at exemplify2, the number two, edify.org. Exemplify2edify.org. And you can email Mio at exemplify2to exemplify2edify at gmail.com. And I'm sure she'll be more than happy to send you out the copy of her book,
Yeah.
answer questions that you may have about her speaking engagements and about her workshops or anything like that. So please reach out to her. Do you have a Facebook as well, too?
Yeah. Exemplify to Edify is my
Okay.
business page.
Okay.
My personal one is Miosotys Santiago. And
Okay.
then on Instagram is exemplify underscore edify underscore.
Thank you so much for being
You're
here. I
welcome. You're
hope that we can have you on again to talk more about all the great things that you are doing. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is Nina Perez. This is
Thank
Straight
you.
Talk, no sugar added. Until next time.